Larry Hall was a serial killer from Wabash, Indiana, who was a murderer, rapist, and suspected serial killer who stalked, raped, and murdered numerous girls between 1981 and 1994. As a fan of historical reenactments, he would often travel for them and would abduct, rape, torture, and murder girls and women. Hall was born as a twin in Wabash, Indiana in December 1962, though he spent his first few days in the emergency room due to lack of oxygen after his brother Gary fed on him in the womb in what is called a monochorionic pregnancy. Larry grew up digging graves with his father and was antisocial in school, where he struggled due to his IQ being below 85. He was suspected of committing various acts of arson, burglary, and other petty crimes as a teen. After high school, Hall got a job as a janitor and began traveling around the state to take part in historical reenactments. The murders. On September 20, 1993, 15-year-old Jessica Roach went missing from her hometown of Georgetown, Illinois. 2 months later, her remains were found in a cornfield. After a witness said they saw a man driving a van around the cornfield. In early 1994, several other people called the police about a man driving a van and talking to young girls, which led to Hall being brought in for questioning in October. Authorities showed Hall a photo of Roach, and he immediately flinched, leading them to suspect he had been involved in her murder, though he denied having ever seen her. After finding evidence in his 1982 Dodge van connecting him to her disappearance and giving details that only the perpetrator of the crime could have known, Hall eventually confessed to and was charged with her abduction, though not her murder, that December, and was found guilty in June 1995. It is believed that Hall's first murder occurred when he was 18. 15-year-old Dean Marie Pyle Peters disappeared from her Grand Rapids, Michigan middle school in February 1981, and her body was never recovered. 12-year-old Deborah Jean Cole disappeared from her Indiana hometown in late August, which Hall is also suspected of. Over the next 13 years, numerous female corpses, some as young as 10 and some unidentified, were discovered and later attributed to Hall due to their bodies being strangled and sexually mutilated. His final assumed killing took place in early October 1994, just 3 weeks before he was brought to police. The aftermath. In 1998, the FBI reached out to a prisoner named James Jimmy Keene, who was serving a 10-year prison sentence for possessing drugs and weapons. The FBI, having learned of Keene's affability and charisma, and worrying that Hall could have won his appeal against his conviction for the Roach kidnapping, offered to commute Keene's sentence if he agreed to be transferred to the same maximum security prison as Hall in order to befriend him and obtain the location of the bodies of his victims, as well as any additional murders he may have committed. Keene agreed and did so, and Hall eventually confessed to him that he had killed Reitler. One day Keene saw Hall working on a map of the Midwest with red dots and names over it, which Hall quickly covered up. Keene, thinking the map would be enough for the FBI, yelled at Hall, calling him one of the most despicable forms of human life on this planet. Keene later regretted blowing his cover at that point, wishing he had gotten possession of the map before exposing his true motives. Unable to reach his FBI contacts or prove his true identity, Keene was placed in solitary confinement for 2 weeks before being released. He tried to recite the map from memory, but was unable to lead to any discoveries. The map was never recovered by authorities. Due to some of the details Keene retrieved from Hall that confirmed his knowledge of several disappearances, Hall's eventual appeal was denied, and Keene was released from his sentence. As of 2022, Hall was serving life without the possibility of parole in Federal Correctional Complex in North Carolina. He has since admitted to as many as 39 murders, later recanting every confession, though the FBI believes he could have committed up to 50, which would make him one of the most prolific serial killers in American history.